Hello and welcome to the Comic Core and Drew Manchu's comic book reviews. Today we're going to be doing things a little bit differently, and I'm going to go ahead and do some rapid fire reviews for you guys and throw a bunch of books at you. A lot of stuff came out this week and there's a lot of stuff to talk about. Suicide Squad #1. Written by Tom Taylor with art by Bruno Redondo, Suicide Squad #1 takes a new look at Task Force X. You got the team of the Shark, Zebra Man, Magpie, Harley Quinn, Cavalier, and Deadshot. And they're being led by Amanda Waller to stop another superhero team of terrorists from destroying Australian submarines. We get a good look at what these revolutionaries are capable of right before Task Force X is sent in to save the day. Amanda Waller seems to be handing the team off to a gentleman by the name of Locke, who has sent them in to stop these revolutionaries so he can capture them and add them to his menagerie of villains to use in the Suicide Squad. This is a really good start for this book. There's a bunch of characters in here I really don't give a rat's ass about, but that's the way the Suicide Squad should be, a rotating system of B and C and D-list characters who keep getting offed and replaced, and I like the way that this story is started. It's a 4.5 out of 5. Really great start. Batman #85. Tom King's run on Batman has ran 85 issues. It was cut off early because the people demanded a better Batman, and this is the wrap up to that story, and it's a whole bunch of talking back and forth. Nothing really happens. It's just the same thing over and over and over again. So it's a Tom King book. It's exactly what you think you're going to get out of this story. No real consequences except for the death of Alfred, which is kind of meaningless. And you get Catwoman and Batman back together, and they don't even get married. They're not even married. So what was the point of the whole wedding thing in the first place? What was the point of Thomas Wayne coming back from his Flashpoint universe? And what did that have to do with the button, which had nothing to do with Doomsday Clock? And then Bane breaks his back in Arkham, and it's Superman gives platinum kryptonite to Gotham Girl so she can have powers, and none of this drivel has any consequence. This is a 0 out of 5. What a turd of a run. Teen Titans #37. The Teen Titans in issue #37 find out who the Other is, and major spoiler alert, the Other is a brother. It is a Damian Wayne clone's head stitched to a full-grown man's body, and it's really weird, and it spins out of Batman Incorporated. I love that they're going back and featuring that continuity, and the Teen Titans their backs are against the wall, and who comes to save the day but their buddy Roundhouse. So I really love this title. I like Damian. I like these characters they've thrown into the Teen Titans. Crush and Lobo have had a really great story arc. I like where this thing's going, and I like where it's been. I'm going to keep on reading Teen Titans. #37 gets a 4 out of 5. Spider-Man #3 by J.J. and Henry Abrams with art by Sarah Pichelli. This is an Elseworlds tale of a future son of Peter and Mary Jane. Mary Jane was killed by Cadaverous, who also injured Peter Parker, took his arm off, and now he is Spider-Man no longer. But his adolescent son Ben has found his costume and inherited his powers and started web swinging around the city. Peter comes to talk to his estranged son and is interrupted by Cadaverous, who pops through the wall and steals him right out. We also get a nice look in this issue at some alternate future Marvel heroes, including Tony Stark and Riri Williams. I really like what they're doing here. This kind of has an Old Man Logan universe kind of feel to it, and I dig it. I love this book. Real heart when dealing with the character of Ben Parker and his issues with his father, and really great action as well as intrigue. I'm going to hang on to this one. This issue right here is a 3.5 out of 5. Guardians of the Galaxy number 12 is the finale for Donny Cates' run on the Guardians. This huge overstuffed issue is full of story. We get the redemption of Drax the Destroyer. We get the destruction of Jason Spartax and the new Church of Universal Truth. We get the biggest cast of Guardians ever saving the day, and we find out at the end of the day that Jason was just trying to stop Thanos at the end of time. Donny Cates' cosmic opus has come full circle. We get some great splash pages in the back of this when Rocket wants to know what he missed. Basically, he missed Thanos Wins. He missed Cosmic Ghost Rider. He missed Death of Inhumans. He missed Silver Surfer Black. All of these great Donny Cates cosmic stories all come together in this run, and we get a chance to see Rocket redeemed, and we get to see him healing up, ready for his next mission. And I can't wait to see where the Guardians head next. Al Ewing's taking over the title, but this is a really great run on the Guardians. This is some great cosmic stuff from Donny Cates. This is a 5 out of 5. The Annihilation Scourge Omega number 1. This is the fallout of the Annihilation wave being infected by the Cancerverse. And how did that happen? Well, that happened when post Jeff Lemire's run, the Sentry went into the negative zone and tried to split himself from the Void. The ensuing energy explosion ripped a hole to the Cancerverse, and now the Void and the Sentry are separated. They have to get back together to save the day and force all of the Cancerverse into Nova, who sacrifices himself to save the entirety of existence. 6 quick issues, 4 one-shots, an Alpha and an Omega. It didn't really flow very well from the first issue, but altogether, this is a really fun story. I like what's going on here in the cosmos. I think Rosenberg and his writing team did a really great job on this. This was fun. The art was good. The characters they picked to play around in this universe were awesome. And we also got some really, really great help from the entirety of the Marvel Universe in this. Some great splash pages. Just fantastic stuff. This is a 4 out of 5, guys. Really good. Fallen Angels number 4 sees Psylocke, X-23, and Cable trying to fight against Apoth, a mysterious villain who calls himself a god and utilizes technology to infiltrate the minds of people using a techno-narcotic by the name of Overclock. Brian Hill's writing this one with Simon Kradansky on the art. Kradansky's art is really moody and pretty cool. It's very dynamic. Brian Hill is telling a story here that is, while intriguing, something nobody is asking for. The origin of Apoth ends up being that Psylocke, when she wasn't Psylocke, when she was an assassin called Quanon in the past working for the Hand, basically let an AI live. And because of her compassion, this AI calls her its mother, and Apoth is ready to take over the world, and he's going to use Cable to do so. I don't know what the hell is really going on here. It doesn't really tie into the rest of the X universe, and to be honest, this is ending in 2 issues, and I don't see it being very memorable. I'm going to keep reading it, but this right here, this issue, 2 out of 5. Marauders number 4 is Jerry Duggan's pirate opus with the X-Men characters. We get Kitty Pryde as the captain of the Marauder. She's also the Red Queen of the Hellfire Trading Corporation. She's trying to convince Bishop to be her Red Bishop, and he's just not having it. We also get Storm and the Marauders saving a group of mutants from the shore of one country. And we get Bishop and Kitty solving the mystery of the missing billionaire in Taipei that we got ties to in the first issue. Apparently, he loves mutants and joined a mutant worshipping cult, and his billionaire wife had him imprisoned and in house arrest because she thinks that he's embarrassing and she's anti-mutant. This is kind of a cool story. They out him in public. It's pretty badass. You also get Lady Deathstrike type characters who are sentries in this home imprisonment, and Kitty hits one with a pillow but lodges it in her side of her head, so yeah, that's a pretty interesting way to do away with a villain. This lady is pretty pissed off after she's been embarrassed by this whole situation, so she goes and she hires a team to give them a little bit of hell, and it's the Kid Hellfire Club from the Wolverine and the X-Men run, and I'm super excited about them being a part of this universe. Marauders continues to be one of my favorite X titles at the moment. This issue right here is a solid entry, not too mind-blowing. It's a 3.5 out of 5. Excalibur number 4 takes a look at the mutants through the lens of magic and also through the lens of Captain Britain being a mutant now. Betsy Braddock taking up the amulet, becoming Captain Britain, the savior of the British people, their century in Otherworld. This is a huge deal, but it turns out it might be a deal that she's not ready for, as Coven Akaba is going behind her back, trying to convince the Queen that having a mutant Captain Britain isn't the best idea, that having Betsy as Captain Britain isn't the best idea, and letting her know that when Shogo turned into a dragon in Otherworld and used dragon fire, that Otherworld is so fragile at this point that it started to tear a hole into Otherworld, and monsters from Otherworld are coming out into our world, and Captain Britain needs to go save the day from all these monsters littered about Britain. Meanwhile, Gambit and Richter go on a mission to the center of the Earth and meet dirt fairies. It's kind of weird. This is a solid book, though. Solid art, solid story. This is a 3 out of 5. New Mutants number 4 by Ed Brisson. This book right here focuses on the younger mutants. Some of them are out in space, but another group has gone to Nebraska to help their friends Beak and Angel and their children. While they're there, they are assaulted by a group of terrorists from Costa Perdita who have found them and want to hold them hostage for Krakoan medicine. Our scrappy young mutants find a way to wriggle out of their captivity, and Boom Boom shows up super drunk just to blow things up. The art in this book is super colorful and stylized, and I love it. Great job by Marco Faglia, and Carlos Lopez's colors are really popping in this. This also contains my favorite quote of the week when Sage tells Boom Boom that not everybody on the island changes their code name like their underwear. That she's changed her name from Boom Boom, Meltdown, Firecracker, Time Bomb, Boomer, and maybe even Dr. Madam Mixplode. This is a fun story from Brisson. It's probably going to be one more issue before we wrap this arc up, but I really can't wait to get back to the Hickman space adventures of the New Mutants A-Team, and that's really what I'm looking for out of this title. But this is a solid entry. It's a 3.5 out of 5. X-Force number 4 is the mutants forming their own Krakoan CIA. It's kind of a distasteful way of looking at it, and the Quiet Council argues back and forth on how they should deal with this, but they decide semantics are not the right way to focus on this conversation. Basically, there are humans infiltrating the X-Men at every turn. Zeno came in and shot Xavier in the head. There are other people killing Madrox dupes on all other Krakoan sites. Human scientists are being murdered that are allies to the mutant cause. And Xavier sends X-Force in to save the day. They're outfitted with really great weaponry by Forge, and they're all off to do their duty. We get an explanation of how the adamantium gets back into Wolverine every time he's killed and resurrected, and we get to see that that's going to be necessary very soon as they close the portal on Kid Omega and Wolverine as they're going through, and you get a half of a Wolverine lying there dead on the floor, along with Kid Omega's head, and Domino's left scratching her head, wondering why she didn't get through the gate. Great character stuff on the Council with Jean, Mystique, and even Nightcrawler getting a say. Sinister and Shaw want to speak their mind as well. Really, really cool book. Although Joshua Cassara's art isn't exactly my cup of tea, it is highly stylized and kind of fun and different. X-Force is probably my favorite X-Men book going right now, and I'm going to give this issue right here a 4 out of 5. Doomsday Clock number 12. This is the story of the Watchmen universe invading the DC universe. It's 12 issues over the last 3 years, and man, what a disappointment. All the tensions from the metahuman war of Kahndaq and Russia coming together to fight Superman for no apparent reason, that all comes to a head in some really beautiful panels, and Gary Frank finally flexes his muscles on this thing and gives us some quality art. But the panel-to-panel storytelling art is not that great. It's pretty pedestrian. There's really nothing to write home at about it. There are a lot of really wasted, overdone, repeated panels. This is just bloated with Jeff Johns nonsense, and it could have been done in a one-shot and not 12 issues. At this point, we found a resolution to what's going on in the Rebirth universe, and we get a reset of the universe, but it won't happen because this is so far out of continuity based on the way that DC editorial has moved things forward without it. You end up with Rorschach, who's not really Rorschach, who doesn't want to be Rorschach, but Batman convinces him to be Rorschach. Now he's part of the DC universe, and who in the hell is going to read a solo title about this character, Reggie? Superman and Dr. Manhattan have a conversation of reason while Superman fights other people. There's no battle. This book has been building to something that doesn't ever happen. But Dr. Manhattan ends the world and starts the world anew. And we get this beautiful page right here. Look at all this wonderful art. Wonderful art on these pages. Wow, look at that. Look at the time they put in that 9-panel layout. Look at that. And then the world becomes anew, and then Superman lands in several different time periods because, we need to rebuild continuity because continuity is important, but this doesn't fit anywhere in the continuity. But continuity is not important. What's important is Superman, and how do we make Superman come back? We fix continuity. We got to make the Justice Society still be a thing so that Superman becomes Superman and saves his parents so he can be Superboy so that the Legion can come back and we can get this giant splash panel of the Legion and the Justice Society with Superman. And I feel like this whole 3 years that there's like 2 splash panels in this book that Gary Frank's been working on, and the rest of it is just kind of nonsense. Johnny Thunder comes back, and we get to hear about how the multiverse is all about Superman, and that Earth 1 is 1985, but we've never been there. What? He's building a new multiverse that nobody else is going to play in, and we're not going to get these things that he claims are going to happen in the future, never going to happen in the future, because I've been hearing 3 years about 3 Jokers, and that's not going to happen. So this book right here is it's 12 issues of a 3-year jerk-off session for Jeff Johns. He makes himself seem important, and he misses the mark on Watchmen altogether. This right here, this single issue, this is a 2 out of 5. The whole run, 1 out of 5. So there you have it, guys. A whole bunch of stuff throwing at you. A bunch of pretty good issues this week and a lot of disappointment from DC on some big finales. But, you tell me what you think. Hit us up in the comments down below. Tell me why I'm wrong. Tell me why I'm right. Meet me outside and we'll have a big fight. Other than that, man, I thank y'all so much for stopping by for Drew Manchu's Comic Book Reviews. Hope you guys enjoyed the new format. Guys, if you like what we're doing here at the Comic Core and you like the content that we're putting out, make sure you subscribe and hit that notification bell because we're going live 5 nights a week with content for you guys. Friday nights, we're going to go off the rails like always with your community show. We're going to talk about what you guys want to talk about. We're going to talk about what's going on in the chat. But we got 2 new crown jewels of the Comic Core. On Wednesday, we have the greatest comic book show ever, which is kind of tongue-in-cheek for these guys, but I tell you what, it's a pretty damn good show. You got White Whale Comics, Bear Island Comics, John's Comics with Kids, and special guests popping through here and there for the most fun you're going to have in the comic book community. And on Monday nights, 10 o'clock Eastern, you got Modern Men, which is Seawood 19, paired up with JB from Discovery Bay and everybody's favorite community guy, Comic Man Andy, talking about the modern age of comic books, modern collecting issues, modern runs, and some really great stories that we review week in and week out. Check it out, guys. And if you want to know more about what I thought about Doomsday Clock, you can check me out on the Cantu Manchu Review Crew on the SNB Network, and be sure to check out all their offerings over at outrightgeekery.com.